to the 5. Well, it was quite the scene at the United Nations earlier today where Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas took the stage. He's urging members of the UN to grant the Palestinians statehood. He called on Israel to come to peace, and perhaps the most interesting moment was when he received a standing ovation at the end of his speech. Not actually surprising, but a little nauseating because Bibi Netanyahu, who followed him, did not. So Abbas actually put in the application for statehood today. The UN body is going to meet Monday to decide on a vote. And let's take a listen to Abbas right now.
I do not believe that anyone with a shred of conscience can reject our application for a full membership in the United Nations and our admission as an independent state.
Okay. Netanyahu followed with a speech saying that Israelis have tried to come to the table, but the Palestinians have not been willing to negotiate. Here's what he had to say about it.
The truth is that we cannot achieve peace through UN resolutions, but only through direct negotiations between the parties. The truth is that so far the Palestinians have refused to negotiate. The truth is that Israel wants peace with a Palestinian state, but the Palestinians want a state without peace. And the truth is, you shouldn't let that happen.
I thought it was a great speech, and I thought, Greg, that Netanyahu hit all the important points, a lot of points that you don't often hear. So isn't the crux of this issue that Israel has been willing to recognize a Palestinian state, but the Palestinians are unwilling to recognize Israel?
That's the way it seems to me. Some things that strike me is when you apply for statehood, what's the appliation like? Do you write
like one at the DMV?
Yeah. Do you get an essay? Do you have letters of recommendation?
And you can do early application.
Yeah. Here's the thing that what bothers me is they talk about, if the United States blocks this application or denies it, it will hurt our standing in the Arab world. And for once, I would just want the Arab world to worry about their standing in our world. Just once, please. Driving me crazy.
And interesting, he uses the phrase, he doesn't understand how anyone with a shred of conscience.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That is he really saying that President Obama does not have a shred of conscience? Well, because that was who is opposing this move.
Dana Bush was a firm supporter of Israel. It always wasn't perfect. I don't think any president has been, but he was a very strong ally.
Well, remember, President Bush inherited an intifada.
Right.
And then they got a little bit closer, but President Bush did something in 2003, 4, I don't know if I have my data exactly right, did something courageous that the Arab world didn't like, but it was the right thing to do, which was to finally break ties with the liar and the thief and the terrorist that was Arafat.
That's right.
And that was a difference. And then we had Sharon come in, then he has a stroke. I mean, you have all sorts of things that have led up to an American moment, which is America supports Israel. It hasn't been necessarily partisan.
But this administration could do what they did in 1991, which was say, we're going to cut off your funding. Yeah. This administration hasn't done that. So the question is, Obama has been very weak on this issue. Would the UN even be doing this? Would the Palestinians be doing this if his position wouldn't be so weak?
Well, it's perfect timing for them because there were some mixed messages, mixed signals sent by the Obama administration that, of course, enraged the Israelis, and so that was a problem, and it's caused him to lose support amongst that base here politically. But this was the right time for Abbas to push this forward with all the world leaders there, with the conflicts of things going on, with the Arab Spring that had happened. A lot of alliances have fallen apart, people not honoring their obligations. So he wants to put us on the spot. Good on him.
Wait a second.
Hold on, Bob. Netanyahu said, we gave you what you want. In 2000, we went back. We left land in Gaza and Lebanon, and what did they do? What did the Palestinians do? They fired missiles from the same land that they gave up.
Okay, so, can I have a word now?
Sure.
Fine, thank you. We're right at the end of the segment. By the way, Greg, somebody tweeted me and said, Somonik's jokes are more tiring than the $20 hookers on Hollywood Boulevard. There you go. So they were right.
Oh, Bob, be
first
yourself.
of all, let me make it to try to clarify this. What they are applying for is observer status, and they will get it, I believe. The United States is trying to get 9 votes in the Security Council, so we don't have to veto it. If we don't get those 9 votes, we will veto it. The Every other administration, including the Bush administration, gave the money to the Palestinians during the Intifada, number one. The idea that the Obama administration hasn't engaged, they had George Mitchell over there full-time as a negotiator, so that's just malarkey. And the Israelis, in the face of what they themselves admit is a very good West Bank Palestinian presence, continue to build settlements against everybody's recommendation to them, and they continue. So the question about whether the Israelis have clean hands on this, I think you're frankly playing. Typically, we're playing a one-state game.
The Israelis want peace. They want peace. They don't want to have a war.
Then stop building the settlements.
Palestinians can't have it both ways, right?
Stop building the settlements.
They say they want
all of a
peace,
sudden, if you
and the other side of their mouth, they say we made a deal with Hamas to obliterate Israel.
They said they would stop building settlements. They haven't.
Right. Well, and also, but does anyone really believe if they really stop building settlements that the terrorism would stop?
Well, let's put it this way. The four of you won't be getting any messages. I'll be getting hundreds of them now.
We've talked about raising the bar.
But I could care less.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, it's just not, you got to look at this. It's not simple, but it's not as easy to say that the Obama administration is disconnected from Israel. That's just wrong.
A year ago, it said, at the UN, Obama said a year ago, this time, Palestinians would have a state. Raising the bar again.
That was encouraging.
And failed.
But do you agree that they don't, he has a strained relationship with this? Yes, he does, Bob. It's not amazing.
We're fighting more than they are. Coming up, Michael Moore's latest atrocious comments, warning of violence in our streets over the economic crisis. We'll play you the tape next on The Five.
There's violence at the table.
Goes on without me, 'cause